Well, my preferred broad bean, of course, is in its seed pods, and that's aqua dolce, or aqua dulce. I don't know how you pronounce it, but these seeds, I've just opened one, are absolutely perfect, ready for next year. They'll just dry a bit more as the winter months go on, and they'll be ready then for planting out in the spring. And I might just try planting a few early so that I get an earlier crop. By that I mean taking them through the winter. And this particular variety is particularly good at doing that, so it may be worth a crack. Right, well, it's time for me to harvest my peppers. So I'm going to have a go at that. Well, I'm going to harvest these in a couple of batches because it takes quite a long time back at home to prepare them for the freezer, when I just cut off the top and slice them down the middle, take out a few of the seeds, not all of them necessary, but most of them, and then I've got two halves that go into a freezer bag, and then it goes straight into the freezer. And as you can see, they're quite sizable. So if I take a plant and fully harvest it, then invariably I've got myself quite a bit of work to do. And you can see there's some beautiful red ones in here, and we've also got that lovely orange colour. And of course, if I freeze them now, those colours remain when I use them unfrozen later on in the winter months. There's also in here a really deep orange, all off of the same plant. So if you're looking for a colourful dish, then wow, what a way to go. So that's Semero early sweet pepper, and I'm also going to crop some of the King of the North. It's best I find to use scissors on these, but they're just fabulous peppers, extremely tasty and a really good size. And again, I'll cut through, take the end off, and perhaps cut this into 3 or 4 pieces so that I've got pieces to cook with later on in the winter months. So I'm going to work my way through and probably work on these, maybe take a few of the Aga sweet pepper a little bit later. Well, in the end, I thought, what the heck, I'll just go for it. And I've got 2 King of the North plants left, and that Semero early that's not quite ripened down there, and 1 big trough of peppers to deal with tonight. Well, I said earlier on in the year when I put these purple sprouting broccoli in that I would put these posts in, and this is absolutely why. You can see how this particular plant has leant right over, and that, along with the wind that comes during the winter months, is enough just to make sure the plant doesn't prosper. So I'm going to tie these up today and make sure they're in a good place for the winter months. And a number of you have commented that I start preparing for early winter months quite early, and I do, because you put an awful lot of work into your plot, making sure that everything is right, particularly for the winter crops. And if you see it all destroyed in a short space of time, it's really disheartening. So just finishing the job and making sure that things are in a good place is really important as far as I'm concerned. And then you get a decent crop for all your efforts. Right, that one's in place. It should hold up. I'll get on and tie these in and then get over the other side. Well, there was a bit of impromptu hedge trimming required there, as the bindweed found its way over the netting and was really blocking out the light, so I addressed that. And you can see on these broccoli, they're just starting to lean a bit. This is the time to get it right, I think, with tying them up, and the stems start to sort of do a bit of an S shape if you don't get them supported. So I'm going to carry on with these. I only planted these a few weeks back, really. If you look back in my videos, you'll see me doing so. And I had a bit of trouble with slugs because they wanted to eat all the young plants, but that seems to have been sorted. I arrested it really with the use of eggshell, and that always certainly supports the process and helps them a little bit. And these now are not suffering from any real insect damage as it gets colder. And last night it was reported here to be down to 5 degrees, which is fairly cold, and it's having an adverse effect on all the foliage, on the pumpkins and squash and some of the other crops. That's just the time of year. Right, this one is laying down, so it's a real classic case of it needing to be propped up. I'll get on and get these tied to their stakes. Well, before things get too wet underfoot, I need to sort this chicken entrance out. I did this earlier on in the winter period last year, and unfortunately, it's not worked. So the gravel that I put down here, I was hoping would allow the water to drain, but the hens had a different idea. They decided that they would scrape soil off the top of their run area into this area, which has resulted in, well, just a mass of gravel in mud. So I'm going to get this mud out, see if I can tidy up a little bit, give my lemon balm a bit of a haircut, and well, just get the area a little bit more manageable before the rain comes. So this balm smells absolutely delicious, but it is over now. We've used very little of it, in all honesty, but it does smell nice, and it does afford the chickens a bit of a shade in this area. So I'll just get that out, and this comes back with a vengeance every year. Doesn't matter how hard you treat it or crop it like this, it still comes back with a vengeance. So I'll be able to see my way clear then as to what to do. It also is a bit of a bind when you want to push by it in the winter, so it has to go at this time of year. Right, there we go. get this in the barrow. And then I think I'll get my Chillington hoe onto this, see if I can break it up. Well, it's the next step in cleaning up the polytunnel. So today I'm going to take the tomatoes out. They've done me proud this year, and it's time for the plants to come out of the tunnel. And all I'm going to do is take the whole soil and the foliage, take it out of the pot. I'll probably not put any of this into any compost that I'm regenerating, because it's been so confined. I don't know what disease there would be in here, and to be honest, it's probably well and truly spent. I'd have to put a fair old amount of feed in it to rejuvenate it. So tomatoes is one of those plants that I don't really regenerate the compost at all. So I'll strip these few tomatoes off the plants and probably give the green ones to the chickens. They'll peck at them for some time, and I'll do the same with these on this side. Well, Mrs. K came along and nabbed everything that I'd harvested. So, new pot and carry on. There's still quite a few cherry tomatoes coming off of these, but these will be the last, that's for sure, because these plants are on their way out. Now, I'd indicated in my last video that I was going to try and overwinter some peppers. So that's what I'm going to do now, is just prune these back quite hard, and I'll give them a bit of a water, because I think it's probably best to at least give them a chance to keep their roots, you know, moist whilst this September sun is still strong. And I had a bit of a tip, I think he was really saying you need to do this, from Matt. Thanks, Matt. He said you might want to put some straw over the top, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do a bit later on. So there we are. I've taken that one back, yeah, quite 6 inches, something like that, and I'm thinking that might be about the right height. And there's a little bit of shoot on there. I'm going to give it some stem to shoot next year, so that's what I'm going to try, and I'm going to store them underneath my bench. I've got to leave a bit of space because I'm going to put some garlic around the edge as soon as I can get it. Still haven't got it. And I'm going to work my way through and do all of these on the basis that I'd normally throw this compost away, so nothing to lose. And if a few of them survive, then that'll be a real bonus. So, clipping time. Lots more cleaning up to do in here, but that's a really good step forward. We'll get this rubbish out. There wasn't much dead foliage from the tomatoes and the various bits and bobs that I've been preparing for winter. But we've got the peppers in there, I've given them a good water, and I've cropped the mint back, and we'll just allow that to sit there, and hopefully we'll see some growth early in the spring. Remain to be seen. And I've obviously got a bit of sweeping up to do. Just as an experiment, I'm going to allow this Lata tomato to continue to flower and just see what it does. So that'll be a bit of fun. Wow, that's me done for today. It's been quite hot work in here. Oh, sort of 2/3 of the way through September and the sun is beating down. I think we had a bit of that Indian summer after all. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you did, then why not like and subscribe? I got to 2,500 subscribers this week. Absolutely gobsmacked, but thank you to you all. And as you know, my YouTube gets updated on a Wednesday and a Sunday at 8 PM. See you there. Good times.